Lo mein is one of the most familiar items on an American Chinese takeout menu. It comes in white boxes or plastic containers, tangled noodles coated in sauce, mixed with vegetables and meat. For many Americans, lo mein feels traditional. It feels old. It feels Chinese. But the lo mein most Americans know is not the lo mein eaten in China. It is something else entirely. It is an American reinvention, shaped by immigration, economics, and the expectations of a country that wanted Chinese food to be familiar, filling, and fast. To understand how lo mein became what it is in America, you first have to understand what noodles mean in Chinese culture. In China, noodles are not just food. They are symbols. They represent longevity, balance, and continuity. They are often served simply, with restrained seasoning, designed to complement other dishes rather than dominate the table. Traditional lo mein in China is lightly dressed. The noodles are tossed gently with oil or sauce, not drowned in it. Texture matters more than heaviness. Balance matters more than abundance. This is not what Americans were introduced to. When Chinese immigrants arrived in the United States in the 19th and early 20th centuries, they carried these traditions with them. But America did not want subtlety. American diners expected value, volume, and intensity. They wanted food that felt hearty, filling, and unmistakable. A lightly dressed noodle dish did not meet those expectations. So it changed. Chinese restaurants in America were never neutral spaces. They existed under pressure. Chinese immigrants faced discrimination, violence, and exclusion laws that limited where they could live, work, and travel. Opening restaurants became one of the few paths to survival. But survival required adaptation. Menus had to be designed for American comfort, not Chinese authenticity. Noodles were ideal for adaptation. They were inexpensive. They stretched easily to feed many customers. They could be mixed with meat and vegetables to increase perceived value. And most importantly, they could be coated in sauce to suit American tastes. This is where American lo mein was born. Sauce became heavier. Portions became larger. The noodles themselves became softer, more pliable, designed to absorb flavor rather than showcase texture. Vegetables were cut to familiar shapes. Proteins were added generously. What emerged was not traditional lo mein, but a new dish entirely, built around American expectations. In American Chinese restaurants, lo mein became a centerpiece. It was no longer a supporting dish. It was a full meal. It filled containers. It satisfied hunger. It delivered consistency. This transformation was intentional. American diners equated value with quantity. A bowl of lightly seasoned noodles would not impress. A container overflowing with glossy noodles, meat, and sauce would. Chinese restaurateurs understood this immediately. They were not trying to misrepresent their culture. They were trying to survive. As Chinese restaurants spread across the United States, lo mein followed. It adapted further with each new region. In some places it became sweeter. In others, saltier. In others, thicker and heavier. But everywhere, it followed the same core principle: make it familiar, make it filling, make it American. This reinvention did something powerful. It created an expectation. For millions of Americans, lo mein became synonymous with Chinese food. When they traveled or encountered traditional Chinese cuisine, they were confused. Where was the thick sauce? Where were the heavy noodles? Where was the abundance? What they were looking for did not exist in China. This misunderstanding shaped how Chinese food was perceived in America for decades. Authentic Chinese noodle dishes were often dismissed as bland or incomplete. American lo mein had trained palates to expect something else. This was not an accident. It was the result of economic pressure, cultural negotiation, and adaptation. Lo mein also reflects the structure of American takeout culture. Takeout demanded dishes that traveled well. They had to hold heat. They had to stay moist. They had to remain visually appealing after time in a container. Traditional lo mein was not designed for this. American lo mein was. Sauce protected the noodles. Oil prevented sticking. Large portions ensured satisfaction even after reheating. Every element of American lo mein was functional. This is why lo mein thrived in the takeout era. It fit perfectly into the rhythms of American life. Busy schedules, long work hours, families looking for quick meals. Lo mein delivered calories, comfort, and convenience. Like chop suey, General Tso's chicken, and orange chicken, lo mein became part of an American system. It was standardized. It was expected. It was reproduced across thousands of restaurants. This consistency created trust. Americans knew what they were ordering. But this consistency came at a cost. It erased nuance. It flattened regional differences. It replaced tradition with repetition. Chinese American cooks were aware of this trade-off. Many cooked traditional meals for themselves and their families after hours. The food served to customers was different. It was not a reflection of what they ate at home. It was a product designed for the market. This duality defines American Chinese cuisine. Public food and private food. Market food and memory food. Lo mein exists firmly in the public category. Critics often describe American lo mein as inauthentic. But this criticism misses the historical reality. Authenticity was never the goal. Survival was. Lo mein succeeded because it did exactly what it needed to do. It fed people. It sold reliably. It adapted endlessly. Over time, the dish became disconnected from its origins. Its name remained Chinese. Its identity became American. This disconnection is not unique. It is common in immigrant food history. Italian-American pasta dishes differ from those in Italy. Mexican-American dishes differ from regional Mexican cuisine. Food evolves where cultures collide. Lo mein is no exception. What makes lo mein particularly revealing is how invisible its transformation has become. Most Americans never question it. They assume it is traditional. They assume it is old. They assume it represents China. But lo mein tells a different story. It tells the story of adaptation under pressure. It tells the story of cooks who learned to read American tastes. It tells the story of food as a tool for survival. In China, noodles remain connected to balance and tradition. In America, lo mein became connected to abundance and convenience. Neither version is wrong. They simply serve different purposes. Understanding this does not diminish lo mein. It adds depth to it. It reveals the human decisions behind every plate. Lo mein is not a failed imitation. It is a successful reinvention. It exists because Chinese immigrants understood that food could open doors when other paths were closed. It exists because Americans were willing to accept difference only when it felt familiar. It exists because culture is never static. When you open a container of lo mein, you are not opening a window into ancient China. You are opening a chapter of American history. A history of migration, of compromise, of adaptation. Lo mein is not Chinese in the way most Americans think. It is Chinese American. It belongs to the United States. It was shaped here. It was perfected here. It was sustained here. This does not erase its roots. It honors them. Because reinvention requires understanding, lo mein reminds us that food carries stories. Not just of where it came from, but of what it had to become. This is Chop Suey Stories, where familiar dishes reveal unfamiliar truths, where American Chinese food is understood not as imitation, but as invention, and where lo mein stands not as a symbol of authenticity, but as evidence of resilience. The next time you eat lo mein, remember this. It is not a mistake. It is a message.